What's going on?
Had to restart Audacity after messing around with it.
Yeah.
Did today.
You son of a bitch.
Yep.
What's up, Dave?
I was just about to leave the house and I got the notification when you recorded.
You had to take your shoes back off?
Yep.
Get comfy, throw your bathrobe on?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What is it? I just need to know.
What?
What is it?
What's what?
The recording. What are we doing? What's on?
We're doing some comic book characters.
Okay, combo. All right, it's good. All right, good. Because, you got Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Snyder Cut this weekend, so you're going to have a lot to get ready for.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll hit it in a few years.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just... All right, good luck.
All right. Son of a bitch.
Welcome to the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. Your adventure into the world of comic book movies starts here.
Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another adventure of the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. My name's Travis.
And I'm Patrick.
And we are going to talk about some comic book characters today.
Yeah, I've been on a heck of a roll recently, so...
Yeah. I feel like it's been a while since we did this. We did 3 movie episodes in a row, so that was kind of almost a change of pace.
Yeah, to dust off the old noodle.
Yeah.
And see if I can remember any of these oddball characters, or if everyone left is fairly recognizable.
I think we have 52 more characters to talk about, it looks like.
Oh, we're going to break the halfway mark.
Yeah.
All right. Then if there's that many left, I'm worried.
All right. So we just jump right in?
Sure.
Looks like we've got up first is number 2.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I should know this then.
I probably. Let's see who we got. Uh-oh. Number 2. Batman.
Familiar.
Heard of him.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in The Tick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Looked like a bat. Yeah, he had the ears. I remember.
Yeah.
So our number 2 superhero is somebody without superpowers. Interesting.
Yeah. I honestly thought Batman would be number 1, so I'm a little surprised to see him at number 2.
Really?
Yeah. Because I kind of figured, we were building up to, I kind of figured the top 5, I had in my head, so this will move some things around. I think, what did we do? We did, Wonder Woman was number 5. We've talked about her. I guess at this point, it's just, I can probably guess the top 4, but it's going to be a matter of, now 3 remaining, but Batman in number 2. That's kind of interesting to me. Batman first appeared in Detective Comics number 27 in May of 1939, which it's amazing that a character has been around so long, and they always really kind of try to keep the status quo with Batman,
Yeah, I think I'm to that point. I'm kind of bored with Batman. As far as we keep hitting the same beat. Oh, he's lost his parents and now he's emo and angry, and then he decides to become Batman. I'm sick of the origin.
Yeah.
At this point that they keep rehashing. I don't know if this new movie is going to do that. I know it's younger Batman.
Right. Yeah, the Batman it looks interesting. We've only had maybe one trailer for it. Looks nice and moody, and but it kind of feels a little bit of the same dark and gritty Nolan kind of version. What I want as far as the movies go, I want a Batman movie that is full of the weird stuff like Clayface and Man-Bat and of course get your Riddlers and Penguins and Jokers in there that are more sort of down to earth, more realistic, but I want some of the weird stuff. And I think the Snyderverse stuff could have gotten into that. I could have seen Ben Affleck's Batman going up against, like I said, Man-Bat or Clayface, because they already had like the Darkseid's parademons, in Justice League and in Batman v Superman. So it's like you can kind of get away with doing some of that more weird monster type stuff, but
I think that's the exception. Is Affleck's Batman was older, and I kind of liked getting an older Batman.
Yeah,
that's already established, and like it was just ruined by the whole Martha thing, and like
I didn't mind
again
that.
Going. I just. But I think it could have been really good if it wasn't just such a. That movie just wasn't great. I don't know if the Snyder Cut's any better. Here it is, but I've not seen it.
We've got that. As of this recording, it's coming up next week. But when this episode airs, we'll probably be like a week past that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, honestly. But I'm at this point, it's like I just want to see it and move on,
Yeah.
But anyways, like as far as like Batman goes, I mean, there have been so many versions of Batman. You've got the animated series, which I mean, it still is. It's up there for me as far as like ranking, Batman properties. It's it's still one of my favorite versions of Batman. There's so many
the most
good,
consistent, quality wise.
Yeah. Lots of good episodes of that show. We've talked about the Mask of the Phantasm movie, Let's see. As far as comics go, I've read a good chunk. Well, I read all of the New 52 run of Batman, which was from like 2011 until, I don't know, 2015 maybe, when they restarted DC again with Rebirth. And Rebirth really, like, I pretty much stopped reading all DC books with Rebirth, but I really liked the New 52 version back in 2011. That was a pretty good run. Before that, I'd read a handful, several handfuls of Batman issues over the years. Is one of those characters that, like, Detective Comics got up to, I forget how many issues it hit. Because I mean, it goes back to like here the 30s, because he appeared in number 27 in 1939. So, but it was pretty much a long, continuous run of Detective Comics from then until 2011, basically.
Oh, didn't know it went that long.
But yeah, Batman. Bruce Wayne lost his parents as a boy. I mean, everyone knows the Batman origin story. It's it's up there with everyone knows Superman and Spider-Man. Their origin stories are pretty much everybody knows.
I just don't think the origin story is as important as it maybe once was.
Yeah, maybe not.
Like, it's almost more fun to understand and figure out their origin, like, throughout the movie, rather than just dumping it up front.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like, I'm trying to think of an example. I guess, it's a little different, but like Peter Quill.
Oh, yeah.
From Guardians, where you get like snippets that he's part this and part that at the end.
Yeah.
But you don't know anything more, so it's kind of fun, like, figuring it out on the fly. But with Batman and Superman and Spider-Man, it's just overkill. Like, if you really don't know where these guys come from.
That would be a nice thing with the Batman movie that's coming out, is what if it's just a story about him being a detective, and it doesn't need to involve, like, he doesn't have to, this one particular adventure doesn't have to be about the angst of him losing his parents, like, not every issue or episode of the animated series or animated movie, or like, not every Batman story has to be about him being sad about losing his parents, Yeah.
I think you can kind of figure that out just by letting the story be told. That he's driven.
Yeah.
And he's got this determination to, uphold justice or whatever.
Sure.
without having to go into the back. I mean, there's plenty of characters with baggage in movies, and you don't need to go back and find out what happened to them as a child.
Yeah. It's interesting because, like, you got to take a character we've talked about already, Dick Grayson's Nightwing or Robin. Like, he had a similar situation with his parents, but he's learned to move on, like, he's not the way Batman is, where he's carrying around that grief every time he goes out there.
Which makes no sense, because it's like, he was a kid. What could he do?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he was like a teenager and told his parents to, screw off, I'm hanging out with my friends, and then they died or something.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that was just poor decisions on old man Wayne going down that alley.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, read the room, buddy. I mean, jeez.
Like, there is Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, which is, one of the kind of classic Batman stories that I do really enjoy. I haven't read it in a little while. I've read it several times, but it's been a while since I have read it. I actually just watched the animated, the 2-part Dark Knight Returns animated movies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was just kind of in the mood to watch some DC animated stuff. It's all over HBO, so it's available. And that movie holds up quite a bit.
Yeah, I saw it maybe a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Is that Batman Returns 1 and 2? You said
Part 1 and 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Yeah. Also has a killer score. So. Then there's stuff like The Long Halloween, which I've never been a fan of. I read it, and it's an Alan Moore story about Batman and the Joker. I just never really connected with it. Some people love it. I don't, but and I don't care for that animated movie either. I don't know if you've checked it out. I think we talked about it in our Mask of the Phantasm episode. Scott and I were like, that story came up in our conversation. I think you had said you hadn't watched it yet. I don't know if
yeah, I still haven't.
yeah, you might like it. I don't know. It's just one of those stories I don't care for that much.
Yeah, I like most of the animated stuff that DC does, and I even like this is a little off the normal path, is the some of the video games.
Oh, sure.
Like Batman's got a ton of awesome video games.
Yeah, the Arkham
Asylum, the Arkham series, and
yeah.
Even there's one with every DC character. It's called Injustice.
Oh yeah,
it's sort of like a fighting game, like Mortal Kombat-esque.
Right.
But it's got a heck of a story. I mean, I've only played the second one, but I was into the story mode.
Oh, cool.
It had to do with like Superman and Batman being on basically two different sides.
Sure.
Because I guess Lois was killed by the Joker, and then Superman kills the Joker.
Okay.
And then that splits the team apart, I guess.
Sure.
And shenanigans ensue. I don't know if that's tied to any real comic story, but
no, it's kind of like it's kind of known as the Injustice universe now.
Okay.
Like, it is kind of its own separate thing. There are Injustice comics that kind of spin out of the video game.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not considered part of like the canon of everything else.
Yeah, it seemed completely different. Like Wonder Woman's
kind of
trying to get with Superman, and
yeah, kind of a what if, because Superman kind of goes bad throughout all of that. I think.
Yeah, Kara shows up and is very confused as to why Clark's an asshole. Basically.
Okay. I've played all of Arkham Asylum and really enjoyed it. I played some of Arkham City and just kind of stopped playing it. And that's the last video game I've played, was Arkham City. Before that, like, I'd played the Lego Batman stuff is really fun. I don't care for that Lego Batman movie. I know everyone kind of really enjoyed it. I like the Lego movie, and I like Batman in the Lego movie, but I didn't really care for the standalone Lego Batman movie.
Oh, with Will Arnett.
Yeah, I don't mind him. It was just the story in that movie that I didn't care for.
It was the weird Joker love affair
Yeah.
friendship story.
Which I don't mind.
I mean,
that
it was just mocking that
sure
underlying thing. Yeah.
Yeah. What else about Batman?
Yeah, I didn't realize that Kevin Conroy was the voice in the video game, like for Injustice.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like,
Injustice.
Wow, whoever,
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, whoever that is sounds really good, and then I was like, oh, that's why it sounds really good.
Yeah, he's hard to beat as the voice of Batman.
I just didn't think he'd do a video game voice.
Oh, sure. Yeah. A lot of the animated stuff was voiced by Bruce Greenwood, who's not bad. He's in Star Trek, the Star Trek reboot. He's like the admiral that encourages Kirk to take over for his, kind of follow in his father's footsteps and become Starfleet, But yeah, he's voiced a lot of Batman. And then Jason O'Mara, who's been in several things, nothing like huge, but they've done decent Batman voices. I really like the Batman in Justice League New Frontier. It's a really good story by Darwin Cook, kind of a graphic novel. And then they animated it as well, and I love that animated movie. That's definitely one worth checking out on if you've got HBO or just anywhere that you can find that movie. New Frontier is really good. But the Batman in it is interesting because it's kind of like he's still in the early days of being Batman, and has a great moment with Martian Manhunter.
Oh, okay.
Kind of tells him he spent thousands on a piece of kryptonite for the one in Metropolis, and he tells Martian Manhunter, for you, all I need is a penny for a book of matches, because he knows Martian Manhunter's fear is fire. So it's just kind of a, don't mess with me, because if I can take down the one in Metropolis, I can take you down just as easy, So.
Yeah, Batman can be kind of an a-hole.
Oh, yeah. There's a good Grant Morrison storyline, I believe it's Rock of Ages, where it's all about, Batman has a file on how to take down the entire Justice League, and that file gets, I think, if I remember right, it's taken by Maxwell Lord, who's the villain in Wonder Woman 84. And
okay.
So he has all that information. It's kind of like he's taking down the Justice League using Batman's methods, and it's everyone's like, how do they know all of our weaknesses? And Batman has to be like, about that. That's my file in case I ever have to take you guys down. So
yeah, Batman's the worst.
Batman is the worst.
But I mean, he's got to be probably the most well-known next to Superman,
yeah,
1A and 1B.
Yeah.
Also helps that they've been around forever.
Sure.
But I mean, people that aren't even into comics like myself are well aware of these characters, and there's just so much out there available as well.
Well, and you can be a video game person and love Batman because you've played, Arkham or Injustice or whatever. You could be a comic book person and have, all this Batman stuff, or you could just be a movie person. I mean, there's so many. He's so available, in
I'd say
so
Batman
many mediums.
more so
than
Superman, just volume-wise, because, even before the big comic boom movie era,
sure,
there was, the Adam West Batman that I watched, just on reruns,
Yeah.
because it was always on a specific channel.
Yeah. I think Nick at Night ran it for a long time.
Yeah, and Superman didn't really have that.
Sure.
They had the old ones from the 50s or whatever. But,
yeah, the George Reeves.
Yeah, but those weren't exactly, I guess, enjoyable for children to watch.
Yeah, good adventures, but not didn't have the pop that the Adam West series had. Yeah.
As goofy as it was.
Yeah.
It's the only time Batman's fun is
Yeah,
in
right.
Adam West's version. Literally the only time he's fun. Every other thing, he's just moody or angry or gravelly.
Yeah.
Like, there's a few there with the animated series where he's got a sense of humor at least.
Sure. That was the nice thing about that Brave and Bold series that they did with when Diedrich Bader was the voice of Batman, and it was more of just a fun, silly Batman series. He was always teaming up with somebody. It was.
Oh yeah.
You
I know
know,
what you're talking about now. Yeah, I forgot about that.
that was a good series.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty well regarded too. Like,
Yeah, it sort of took its, I guess, tone from Adam West Batman a little bit. It was almost like an homage of sorts.
and just like someone probably looked through their archives and was like, the 50s and 60s Batman stories were a lot of fun, because they were more kid friendly at that time and just sillier stories. So
Yeah.
but I mean, there's too much to talk about with Batman. We could go on for, I'm sure, a lot longer, but should we move on?
Yep. Let's do it.
Got okay, going way down to number 91.
Oh crap.
Let's see what we get here. Oh boy. A character called I've never really spoken this name, so I'm probably gonna get it wrong. It's Cerebus. I always want to say Cerberus, but I don't think it's Cerberus. I think it's Cerebus. It is I know that he's like an aardvark, but he's like a sword wielding aardvark. Yeah.
Good thing we talked a while for Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, okay. So, Cerebus. First appearance is Cerebus number 1 from December of 1977, which goes back longer than I would have thought. I thought he was a late 80s, early 90s character. When I would collect Wizard magazine in like the early 90s, he was kind of a character I'd see. That's where I know him from, is just articles about him or people talking about him in the 90s, that I just thought he was a early 90s kind of indie comic character.
Okay.
But let's see. Few names hold as much sway in the independent comic scene as Cerebus. This aardvark debuted in the late 70s as a spoof of barbarian heroes like Conan, but creator Dave Sim was far more ambitious than that through his hero. Sim worked to push the boundaries of the medium as far as they could go. Cerebus embarked on a long multi-decade odyssey that spoofed and satirized much of pop culture while also making bold statements about art, religion, and life itself. Often controversial, but always revered, Cerebus's mark on the industry will be everlasting. Yeah, I really now that I think about it, there's an issue of Spawn. I think it's issue number 9, where, so this would be like way back in 1992, maybe 93, in Spawn number 9, where it's like a crossover with Cerebus, and Cerebus kind of like takes him through, I don't know if it's like the underworld or some like afterlife kind of weird magic realm. And I know that the issue is meant to be like a story about comic book creators not like owning their characters. So it's like, it's very meta commentary on why Image Comics were formed. It was so that the creators could own their characters. And like Cerebus is kind of showing Spawn, I guess how other comic book characters can be treated. And it's like, you can see that there's this jail cell, and how like inmates will just hang their arms kind of outside of the bars kind of. It's like you can see just the arms of the characters, and it's like it's Hulk and Superman and Spider-Man and Batman, and just like all these big name characters who the character creators don't own the characters. They're owned by the big corporations that put out their comics. So it's like Cerebus's way of showing him like, you're free, you're like me, you're free, or something like that. So it's just very meta and weird.
Gotcha.
So that's my knowledge of Cerebus.
He seems like he's just an oddball that maybe has like a extreme cult following or something to get on this list. Then
yeah, maybe. I mean, I've known about the character, and like I said, those Wizard magazines that would always talk highly about him. I think it's one of those like it's always just talked about as being very well respected, like very intelligent kind of book, I think. So if you're not into the capes and tights kind of superhero stuff, if you're more into the indie comics, like this is kind of up there for you, I guess. But I've always been more of a flights and tights kind of comic reader, so I'm okay with more of the mainstream stuff.
Yeah, it's probably because he's an animal, but I keep thinking of Peter Porker.
Yeah, kind of looks like a pig. Yeah.
How does he?
I mean, kind of, because he has a snout. It looks a little bit pig-like.
I always think of aardvarks, like, looks-wise, I confuse them with anteaters.
Isn't that...
I feel like...
Yeah, aren't they? I kind of thought they were the same thing.
I don't know.
What is an aardvark?
But I don't know if their nose is or snout's exactly the same.
Okay.
Is an aardvark an anteater?
I thought so. Let's see. Aardvark is a medium-sized burrowing nocturnal mammal native to Africa. Unlike most insectivores, it has a long pig-like snout, but it's not... Okay, it doesn't have the long nose like the giant anteater. Okay.
So they're similar, just a little bit different in their
kind of is just like a mix of a pig and an anteater. All right.
Well, we've learned what an aardvark is versus an anteater.
Right.
Thanks, Cerebus.
Aardvark, the name comes from South Africa's Afrikaans language, which means earth pig. Nice.
Oh, that's so much better than aardvark. Earth pig.
Earth pig. That's the
Spider pig.
Yeah.
Pig. All right.
Yeah. Should we move on? Can we
Yes,
top? How about number 51?
All right, I'm feeling better.
Yeah. Go middle of the road here.
Yeah.
Ooh, Black Panther.
I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Although I will say his popularity has ticked up since the movies, because before that, I didn't really know a whole lot about him.
Yeah, he was always just, for me, a character that would show up in a couple of comic issues I'd read, and then, I didn't have much experience with Black Panther.
It fell into like a weird area for me where I didn't know if it was like a weird, like, of its time thing. Because, there was like the Black Panther organization.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait, is he called, like, it's just weird that a lot of the black superheroes have black in their name. Like,
yeah.
Like Black Lightning and Black Panther.
Right. Yeah, there are so many of them. Black Racer.
So I wasn't sure if it was like a product of its time or if it was...
Sure.
that kind
I think
of thing.
a little bit of that. The character was initially going to be called Coal Tiger, so I think Black Panther is a little bit better. I like that. I think this is definitely one character that the black in the name works. Yeah, because it literally is. A Black Panther is different than like a panther is just like a jaguar. You can't have panthers that are not black, so
it's kind of redundant.
Yeah. But I think it works better than a Black Goliath, a Black Lightning.
Yeah.
Some of the other characters with black in the name that's like
Blackula.
Yeah. There might be a Black Vulcan. I think might be a Marvel character.
Yeah.
So yeah. Created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. And his first appearance is Fantastic Four number 52, July of 1966.
Yeah.
I have read that issue. It's been in my kind of ongoing read through the Marvel universe going through all these the older original comics, and it's a decent origin story. It's like you got T'Challa, who is the Black Panther, and I forget in that issue if he's the son of the king. I think he might tell his origin story in that issue, or like one of the issues afterwards. So it's like when you first meet him, he is king of Wakanda, but it's like he tells his origin story when he was the son of the king, and like I think it is Ulysses Claw comes in. They're trying to invade Wakanda to get their vibranium, and the king gets killed and all that. So
the mantle of Black Panther is separate from that of King of Wakanda, correct?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if the Black Panther
seems that way in the movies anyway.
I always took it that they go hand in hand. The ruler of Wakanda is the Black Panther, I think, but
because you said like the Great Warrior is the Panther.
Yeah,
but they like seem to make a distinction without saying it, even though his dad was the Black Panther, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not quite certain if it's like the ruler of Wakanda has to be Black Panther, or if it could be like you could have a separate ruler and someone else be the Black Panther. I'm not sure.
Like if he had a brother or whatever, or sister, I don't know what it works.
Yeah, I know he's got a sister, Shuri.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the movie.
She's the genius one.
Yeah, like the tech. Yeah. She in the comics, she has been Black Panther. So I don't know if that means she was Queen of Wakanda, or if he was still king and she was Black Panther. I'm really not sure. But that would be something I'd like to find out. I never really gave it much thought, but that's a good question.
I also remember thinking, is there like a crap load of incest going on? Because it doesn't seem like a big group of people in the movie. Like,
I don't know. I mean, it's like it's a nation.
You have to minimize who knows about Wakanda.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, do they bring in new people?
Oh, because okay, I see what you mean. Like, because they don't let in the outside world.
It's like a secret society almost.
Sure.
And then, there's a finite amount of people. Like,
yeah.
Is it like English nobility? Like, it's just a ton of like hemophiliacs in the background?
Right. I mean, it's a nation, so I don't know what the population is of Wakanda, but it's not like it's not a city, or it's not like a village where, your population would be. I think the gene pool is probably big enough to support like enough variety.
I think it's the dome that got me thinking about that.
Sure, yeah.
In Endgame, I'm like, how big is this place?
Right.
Like, it only covers that area. Like,
sure, yeah.
Is there like are they pretending to be other nations outside of the dome and not Wakanda? Like, it opened a lot of questions for me. I'll just say it that way.
Man,
because I'm like, how do you hide an entire nation?
Well, you got that sweet Wakandan technology.
So maybe there's domes all over the place.
Yeah, that could be.
I think that's what did it, is just the area.
Maybe what we see in like Infinity War and Black Panther and Endgame is just the capital city, I don't know.
And everywhere else looks like a normal African nation or something, or has their own ideal.
I don't know.
Because it's like the whole secrecy thing is what throws me off. Like, how do you keep something that big a secret?
It might be a little more believable in the old 60s era like issues, because it was like you could maybe believe a little bit more of like, here's this hidden society versus
that might be American ignorance to like geography across the other parts of the world.
Totally, yeah. But I think when you jump into the MCU and it's like Wakanda is still a secret in whatever year and it's like some people know about it. I mean, clearly Claw, played by Andy Serkis, like he knew about Wakanda. Like he, talks about in Age of Ultron, like he messed with Wakanda. So it's like it's not a secret to everybody, but to most people it still is. Like, and you see in a flashback in Black Panther, it's like they cut to '90s, I think in East LA, where
Oh yeah.
kind of the flashback at the beginning of that movie, so it's like they're out and about in the world, but they're still being very secretive. I don't know. At least like that's what, until you find out about them. Like now in the modern Marvel comics, like everyone knows about Wakanda. It's not a secret anymore, and hasn't been since the '60s. So
I guess Black Panther himself. I'm not entirely clear on his power. Like,
okay,
if it's similar to Captain America, where it's just physical capabilities that have been enhanced.
Sure.
With the Black Panther power, because the suit also has its own power set of intaking damage and shooting it back out, kind of.
Yeah. Which I think is a MCU kind of only, ability as far as like with the suit. Because in the comics, I don't get the sense that it's like an Iron Man suit, where it kind of is in the movie.
Okay. That's just like a Spider-Man suit where it's fabric.
Yeah,
that might be strong or something.
I mean, you could do anything with because they've written Wakanda as being this, it is this technologically advanced society, so maybe even just regular fabric, you could do stuff like that. But yeah, the character himself is, I think in the movie they show it as when you take on the mantle of the Black Panther, you ingest this heart-shaped herb, which does enhance your senses and your power and strength and all that stuff. I know.
So it's like a super serum of sorts.
Yeah, kinda. He is
just organic.
like Captain America. I'd say like the two of them are probably closest in strength.
Yeah, they seem similar in the movie at least.
Yeah,
like as far as speed and agility and
right.
strength.
I
didn't know if he had like a hunting kind of like stealthiness to him or something.
Yeah. I know in the Ultimate Avengers, Ultimate Marvel, universe, like that kind of spin-off series that started in the 2000s, at least in the animated movie, in this sequel, Ultimate Avengers 2 or whatever, they introduced Black Panther, and he actually like his head transformed like into a panther. Like he was kind of like a were-panther, I guess.
Okay.
So I think that was just for the Ultimate Universe, but I kind of like that idea of once he gets like into warrior mode, like he kind of turns into a were-panther.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know if he had like night vision or like
he might. Yeah, that wouldn't
abilities
surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah. Like some specific to a panther kind of abilities.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't read a ton of Black Panther stuff, but like I said, I'm getting into that era in my Marvel, like I guess my first time through the old Marvel comics. So I'm looking forward to getting a lot more Black Panther.
Yeah, I mean it could get interesting with the opening up of Wakanda.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like in real life, like China was kind of its own walled off country, or nation, and then gradually opening up to the rest of the world or whatever.
Sure.
And the I guess ups and downs of that for Wakanda would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because there'd be pissed off people that are like, "Why are you holding this all to yourself?" And
yeah,
some trying to take advantage, and some. Yeah, it'd just be interesting.
Of course, we did an episode and we talked about the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman, of course, who played Black Panther in the MCU, and we still don't know what their plans are for a Black Panther sequel. As far as I know, it's still ongoing. Like they're still moving forward, but they haven't really said how they're going to do that. So.
Maybe his sister.
it very well could be. That, like I said, that has happened.
Yeah.
There's a precedent for that in the comics. So that will definitely be interesting. They're put in a unfortunate position, but it's more unfortunate that Chadwick's no longer around to play, not
Sure.
just not to play, Black Panther, but yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see what they do with that. I don't really have much else on Black Panther. He's definitely a character that I'm excited to find out more about.
Yeah, I could see him creeping up the list over the years.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before. Like, I think this list that we're going off of, the IGN list, like it came out, I think, in 2009. Like, I think if they were to put out a list now, it would be totally different. I think Black Panther would probably be, much higher in the list, but like this is a pre-MCU list. Like I think in this list, like Iron Man had come out, a couple of movies in the MCU had come out, but like this list would be, a lot has changed. So
Guardians, probably nowhere, and
right,
all of a sudden,
move on.
Yeah,
let's do. Not too far away, number 42, The Answer to the Universe. Number 42, Storm.
Oh, okay.
Which, ironically or coincidentally, Storm married Black Panther in the, I don't know, I'm trying to remember. I know in Secret Invasion, which I just read, which takes place in 2007, 2009. They're married.
I thought she was Nobility too.
Well, not really.
No?
In her first appearance in Giant Size X-Men #1 from May of 1975, like she is regarded in her village as being a goddess.
Oh, that must be
because she's like a teenager with these weather powers, and she can bring rains to this village, and everything. And so she's being like treated like a goddess. Like people are giving her like she was always depicted as people like praying to her and giving her things and making sacrifices for her. Kind of that level of being treated like a deity. And
That's
then
probably what I was thinking of.
Yeah. And then Xavier shows up and is like, if you want to keep tricking these people into thinking you're a goddess, like that's fine, but you could also come with me and help all of mutant kind and save the world, kind of thing. Like, at that point, I think she just thought she was a goddess because she didn't know where these powers came from.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she knew she was a mutant, but it was.
Yeah, it's kind of a dick move, tricking these people when you don't know you're tricking them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's Professor X is a dick, so I don't.
Yeah.
I don't mind painting him as a bad guy. So, but Storm. She was always one of those. Like, she's generally considered to be the better leader of the X-Men, like over Scott Summers, Cyclops.
Oh God. Yeah.
And usually there's like a X-Men. Well, this is not now, but like for a long time, I think 80s to 90s, even into the 2000s, like there was always an X-Men blue team and a gold team. And I think she was always the leader of the gold team, I think.
Okay.
Like they still form it together as one team, but if they needed to handle things separately, it was like she'd take her squad, and be the leader.
Yeah, she's got to be one of the more powerful mutants, like in that scaling.
Yeah.
That they have.
And she's always kind of just associated, I think, with lightning, but yeah, she can control, any weather aspect.
Like she could screw up the planet.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what I was thinking was happening when she left her nation, her village.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she was, creating too much water and then it flooded and disaster.
Right.
Like she didn't know what the consequences or something.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't think it was just Xavier showing up being like, "Hey, stop being a fraud." Come over
right. Yeah.
I thought it would have been something like that, not knowingly.
Like they chase her off because she floods something or something.
Yeah, like I thought it would have been something like that because you could easily screw something up with manipulating weather. I mean, we've seen it in a bunch of disaster movies.
Yeah. Another aspect of Storm or Aurora Monroe. That's always been a name that's tough
Aurora. Yeah.
Aurora Monroe.
Yeah, it's like the town of Aurora, Illinois, like from Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Aurora.
Going back to like watching her in the animated X-Men, I always remember like she's very claustrophobic. Like that's always an aspect of her character that just an interesting character trait that they give her. What else about
she's
Storm?
claustrophobic because of that makes sense because she's weather based and more open, I guess.
I think it's because she was in a building that collapsed or something.
Oh, okay.
Like literally, like she was in a tight,
Just like buried
space.
Alive, kinda.
Yeah, kind of a buried alive thing for a little while until she was freed or something. But I think she comes from Egypt. She was like born on the streets of Egypt or something like that, and was like a pickpocket, kind of a child ne'er-do-well kind of thing. And then she maybe made her way to I forget where in Africa. She was like this goddess kind of character. So, but yeah, she sometime in the 2000s they paired her up with Black Panther, and she became Queen of Wakanda, kind of alongside him for a while. I don't think they're still together in the comics. I think they split up. I'm trying to remember. It was like in some kind of like Avengers, another animated thing of kind of like a what if, like Avengers all had kids, and I think they had a kid who had like the Black Panther powers and some weather control abilities or something. I forget what that was, but of course we've got the infamous Storm performance from Halle Berry in the X-Men movies. Some of those performances are better than others.
Yeah.
Like visually, they didn't do much with the character other than give her like lightning powers for the most part. Like that's kind of all she ever did with it was maybe some wind and some lightning. Yeah. I think when they first show up to save Wolverine, like she's controlling some snow.
Yep.
I can't think of any other big, uses of Storm in the movies. Of course, she has the infamous line, do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else. Like, come on. And that was like a Joss Whedon written line. Like they hired him to
really?
punch up the script for X-Men. Yeah,
bad.
It's bad, just so bad.
Yeah.
They kind of improved on her a little bit in the following movies. Like she got a little bit better every time she was in the movies, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be hard to depict a power like that, though.
Yeah.
Like without it looking ridiculous.
I guess. I don't know.
Like spinning up tornadoes or...
yeah. Oh, she did do that. They did show her in one of the movies. She's in the... Maybe it's X2. And they're being chased by some fighter jets in the X-plane. I think she gets some tornadoes going to kind of clear the path for them or something. But
I kind of wonder if they could take her to like a planet and terraform with her, like her abilities, like getting water there and changing the atmosphere or something.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't know how like.
I'm not sure how it's based, like power-wise, but
right. You'd either have to have her constantly controlling that, or she'd have to do something that would sustain itself. Like, if she used her powers,
set up a pattern.
Yeah,
Just be kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't really have a ton more on Storm. Cool character. I like. I always like seeing her like in the X-Men. I've been reading some X-Men stuff now. I think I talked about it in one of our last episodes. House of X and Powers of X and like the newer X-Men stuff that's going on, and she's part of the Marauders. It's like a X-Men team of like a pirate team where they go sailing around the world. trying to free mutants from other planets, or not planets, other nations. Because the idea is like,
past?
no, like this is ongoing. This is like modern day because the X-Men now live on an island called Krakoa. And it's basically like they've decided, okay, we're done trying to live with humans. Like we're now going to have our own island, our own nation. We are a country now. So the story is mostly about like, you know, the UN needs to recognize us as a nation, and other nations need to understand that we are a country now, and kind of all the stuff that comes with that. And so this team of marauders, it's Kitty Pryde, or Kate Pryde, she likes to be called. She's like the captain of this vessel, and they just sail around and go to other countries and free, you know, because some countries don't want their mutant citizens to leave and go join Krakoa, because Krakoa is like, it's open. The borders are open to any and all mutants, but no humans are allowed. So some countries don't want their citizens to leave because, you know, they'd rather them stay there for whatever reason. So yeah, these guys kind of are
power.
Yeah. So
it's like the Superman thing where America's got like a walking nuclear weapon, essentially.
Yeah. So it's but yeah, she's part of that team that I've really been enjoying. Out of the newer X-Men stuff I'm reading, Marauders is one of my favorites. So, and she's part of that team. So
isn't that kind of Magneto's plan to set up a mutant
kinda, yeah.
nation of sorts?
Yeah, he's messed around with Genosha was one place, and
so he had was right all along.
He had a yeah. I think even Professor X even says that at one point. It's like he had the right idea the whole time, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Cool. Was that 4? Did we do 4?
Yep.
Yeah, that was
Batman, Aardvark, Cerebus guy,
Black Panther
and
Storm. Yeah, and
that's quite the team.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be fun. Once we're done with all this, we have to team up. Every episode we did, that's the team, and then they have to fight each other. Maybe we'll do that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to kind of end this on like a recap, kind of where are they now almost.
Okay.
Back in one of our earlier episodes where we did this, we talked about Nova, and he was ranked number 98 out of this list of 100. And at the time, I was like, I know his name is Richard Rider. I know he wears a gold helmet and has vague, like, Captain Marvel kind of powers. Like, he can fly around like a rocket and shoot energy blasts and all that. But I didn't know, you know, much about Nova at all. Through the Marvel Unlimited, you know, comic app, which, you know, goddamn, give us some money. I talk about that app enough. Like, should be doing ads for them. I've been reading a lot of Nova. I read, that's like, kind of thanks to friend of the show, Brian Lockhart. Like, he said, you know, you should read Annihilation. It's this storyline, a Marvel event that came out in the, like, 2006, 2007. I read it, and there's like a 4-part Nova lead in to that story that I read and really loved. And like, that would be an amazing MCU like movie. You could almost do a Nova trilogy, and it would tie into the Guardians story because it's very like cosmic Marvel, you know, that whole side of things. So I read Annihilation, and it was okay, the overall event. And then I read Annihilation Conquest and absolutely loved it. Just especially like Nova was a standout character in that storyline for me. So it's like I've been continuing from there and reading Nova, and I'm going back to read the original stuff. So from the 70s, and it's like, as far as characters go, like now I know more about the character, and I really love the character Nova. So just wanted to update that since we talked about him way back when, and we didn't know really anything about him. So
Okay.
Yeah.
The more you know.
So that's where they are now.
Cool.
But yeah, I think that'll probably be enough for this episode.
Alrighty.
How do we normally end these? I guess we don't really do anything different.
I assume it's just the stay safe.
Yeah.
As usual.
I don't know why I'm like, how do we do this?
I'm pretty sure that's it. But
So we will be back with Star Trek Generations, I think.
Ooh,
It's definitely our
Star
next
Trek.
movie. I think that's what we have next. So until then, stay safe out there, citizens.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Find the show on Facebook and Twitter at Real Comic Heroes. All music and audio are the property of their respective creators.